Critical to survival, we'll be looking at defensive systems on the Viper. This will be an introduction as these systems are bare bones at the moment. The RWR, Radar Warning Receiver, shows letters and numbers representing types of radar emitters. You can find a list of what these systems are in the description. A diamond around the character indicates that this emission is your primary threat. Circles around the radar show that it is tracking you, and a flashing circle will be present if the system is guiding a missile at you. The launch light will also illuminate when this happens. Audio tones also indicate the same, with a new contact, locked, and launch. These sounds are placeholders from the Hornet, however. The RWR shows us azimuth to any radar emissions detected relative to our aircraft, with the top 12 o'clock position being in front of us, 3 o'clock to the right, 6 o'clock behind us, and 9 o'clock to our left. The distance from the centre that icons appear does not show us the range to a radar, instead it measures the signal strength. The closer to the centre, the stronger the signal. This means a long-range radar might appear closer to the centre, whilst a short-range radar might appear further out, despite the fact it's actually closer to our aircraft. A symbol on the edge will most likely be out of range and is of no immediate threat to you. As they move towards the centre, however, you should be considering them as a danger to your aircraft and should expect launches by the time they near the centre itself. This system has 2 blind spots, one above and one below, so do not mistake this for a radar losing lock on you during a defensive turn. Moving to the left, we have a number of function buttons. The T, Target Separate, will separate icons that are overlapping to make them easier to read. The Launch button will light if the system detects a radar-guided missile launched at you. Mode will cycle between showing Open, where the RWR will display the highest 16 radar emitters, whilst Priority will show only the 5 highest threats. The remainder are not functional yet. On our Countermeasures dispenser system panel, we have a number of switches for powering up our Countermeasures bays, with CH showing our total number of chaff for use against radars, and FL showing our flares count for use against heat-seeking missiles. Other 1 and 2 are not modelled at present and they can be left off. To the left we've got power switches for the RWR and jammer, as well as the MWS missile warning system, which our model of F-16 does not feature. We then have the jettison switch. Placing this into jet will dump all our countermeasures, intended for emergencies where you would like to avoid our countermeasure bays catching fire, such as a belly landing. We then have our countermeasure program selector knob. Here we can select which program we wish to use with manual mode. You can see the default programs on screen. We cannot currently change the programs within the sim, but I'll discuss how to edit them outside of DCS later in the video. Besides this, we've got our mode select with off, standby, manual mode where we can run the selected program on the program knob, semi which will automatically pick a program for us to use but we have to activate it, auto which will automatically select the best program for the threat and then request consent to start dispensing. Once consent has been given, the auto system will dispense as appropriate without further input. Finally, we've got bypass mode. This is set to dispense a total of 40 chaff and 40 flares over a cycle of 20 by default. This mode is intended for use should the countermeasure system fail on you. As of recording, only manual and bypass modes work. On the auxiliary panel we have the system power switch. Keep this one on. Hidden on the left wall we have the chaff/flare dispense button. This is a panic switch which by default will drop 2 chaff and 2 flares. We control the countermeasures release with our countermeasures management switch on the stick. Forwards will dispense the currently selected program, aft gives consent for semi and auto modes to release their programs. Left has no function at the moment and right will disable the auto dispense mode consent. Of these, only the forwards position is actually useful at the moment, so personally I've bound forwards to the CMS forward to dispense my selected program, aft to run the chaff/flare wall dispense panic button, and left to select program 1 with right to select program 2. This I will no doubt change as the system is fleshed out, but until then this gives me easy access to free countermeasure programs on demand. In addition, our computer can be configured to give warnings, however they are not currently implemented. If we open the list page on our DED and go to CMDS with number 7, we can now set our bingo level for each type of countermeasure. When we pass below this number, we'll hear a
low
warning. This is followed by an
out
warning when the countermeasure bank runs out. We can also cycle the feedback, a
fat flare
audible warning, each time a countermeasure is released. Request consent, the
counter
warning, which is the computer requesting consent to deploy countermeasures in an automatic mode, and bingo for the
low
and
out
warnings. All of these can be cycled on and off by highlighting them and pressing any number on the ICP. If we press sequence, we can switch over to the countermeasure profile editor. We can press the rocker switch to select which program number to edit, and then enter our quantity for each burst, the interval between bursts, the sequence quantity, and the sequence interval. These cannot be configured in-game at the moment, however. Pressing sequence will cycle between chaff, flares, and other settings for the selected profile, and then return to the countermeasures bingo page. This system would allow us, for example, to set a burst quantity of 2 with an interval of 0.5 with 4 sequence repeats with an interval of 3 between each sequence. As a result, the system would drop 2 countermeasures in 1 second, wait 3 seconds, and then repeat the whole cycle again 3 more times. Since this is not implemented yet, we cannot actually edit the values for the moment. If you would like to make a custom countermeasures profile, however, for your aircraft in the meantime, there is a solution. It will require modifying the core game files, which contains the countermeasures profile. This can be found on the on-screen location. You can open it with Notepad and make changes to the program. Remember to make backups as you go. This will not affect the online integrity check, so you can play multiplayer. However, each update the file is reset to default, so keep a copy. For a full guide on creating custom countermeasure programs for DCS modules, you can see my video linked in the description and on the on-screen link. That's all there is to the countermeasure system for now. In the future we'll get some fun toys like toad decoys and the means to edit the data cartridge in game. But until then, I hope you enjoyed, and take care.